Hello everyone, welcome back to my kitchen, and today I am making apple pectin out of apples, fresh apples. I got these at my local farmer's co-op, and these are technically what would be considered deer apples, they're really hard, really tough. Ugh. And that's okay. We're not trying to make apple pies. We're not trying to make apple tarts. We're making apple pectin and apple sauce and apple juice. So I just slice them all up, and I start out by filling this pot half full of water and adding a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. And then in this pot I put all of the stuff I cut off the core. In this I put all of the cores. We're going to be boiling everything, but we don't want to have to pick cores and seeds out of what will be our applesauce and such. So I just cut them and boil them separately. It works easier. Alright, I'm just going to keep slicing these and get these filled up. This is half full with a 1/4 cup. This is half full with a 1/4 cup. And we're just going to cut them up and fill them up. And there's 15 pounds of apples. 15 pounds of apples will get this completely filled up. And the cores will be able to fill this about 3/4 full. And then we'll get lots and lots of fun stuff out of it. We'll be back when all this is done. In here is all the flesh and skin of 15 pounds of apples. And then I filled it up with about 12 quarts of water. And then there's a 1/4 cup of lemon juice in there. It helps the apples from turning brown. Then we're going to put this on the stove and we're going to turn it on medium. And let it start coming up to a nice boil until all of these soften up. If you turn it on high, right at this stage when they're still fresh, it's going to boil over and foam over and make a giant mess. So you want to put it on medium and let it slowly boil until they get softer, and then you can turn it up higher. And then in this one, I have all the cores and all the scrap. And I have 8 quarts of water because it'll boil down to about 6 quarts. And after everything is boiled, we'll strain it all. And then we'll get to work. We'll be back. Okay, I've been boiling on medium for about 45 minutes. And they're not done. When you push in to stir, if you feel any hard apple whatsoever, it's not done. You should be able to push into it and everything just crumble apart and come apart. So we're going to keep going. It's going to boil for a good hour, hour and a half. So we're going to keep letting it go. We'll be back. There it is. We've been boiling for an hour and a half. And as you can see, they've become like translucent and see-through. And as you stir, they're just soft and squishy and mushy, and they're perfect. So we're going to turn it off and let it sit for an hour. And then they'll all sink to the bottom, and you'll have gorgeous, beautiful, golden apple juice on top. We'll be back. Now that it's boiled and set for an hour, as you can see, all the apples have sunk to the bottom. Now we're going to take this beautiful juice and these beautiful apples, and we're going to strain them and separate them using our jelly bag. And this is going to take a really long time, so I'm sure you don't want to sit here and watch this. So, I'm going to pause, and I'll be back after I've strained all of this, which will take about another hour. We'll be back. Here is our apple cores boiling. They are very far from done. They're still really hard. They're not coming apart. You should be able to press it against the side and your spoon just make it crumble to pieces. So this has got quite a ways to go. And also, it'll be completely transparent all the way through the core. We're going to let this keep boiling, and we'll be back. Alright, the cores have been boiling for an hour and a half. As you can see, they're pretty much, as you cannot see. They're pretty much transparent, but what you can see is how squishy they are. See? They literally just crumble apart. There, perfect. Alright, we're going to turn this off and let this cool. And then we'll strain it. We'll be back. In here we have the beautiful golden apple juice from the core. And in here is a beautiful pink hued golden color juice from the rest of the meat and the skins. They have different colors to them because this had skins, this didn't. We're going to mix both of them together into a big pot and let it sit and settle for about an hour because we want all the pectin and all that thick leftover meat. It's a nice thick film. That's what your pectin will be in the bottom of your jars. It'll settle to the bottom of your pan, and that's what we want. So we're going to pour these together, and we'll be back. We have approximately 15 quarts of juice between the two of them. And like I said, we're going to let it settle for about an hour, and then we'll come back and we will scoop most of the juice off of the top, and then make apple juice out of it. And then the little bit that's left at the bottom, about 3 or 4 quarts left at the bottom, we'll put that into a crock pot and cook it down to make sure we have our pectin. We'll be back to show you what to do with the meat from the apples. We're going to take all the meat and all the skins and we're going to put them through our blender, put them into a crock pot with a few spices and some sugar, and make applesauce for our kids. We'll be back. Hello. Alright, here I have 2 quarts of apple juice. This is the apple juice I just made out of that 15 pounds of apple. Now I know 2 quarts is 8 cups, but it's okay. It will work for apple juice. Then we're going to add sugar. My family is a low sugar family, so I'm only going to add 2.5 cups of sugar. 1 cup. 2 cups. 2.5. You can add 4 cups, 6 cups, whatever you want, but my family is a low sugar family. So 2.5 cups works more than okay. Mix it all up. Now we don't need to add any pectin because, of course, this is apple juice that has pectin in it. The apple juice hasn't been processed and sent through the canner, so it's still that nice golden color rather than this color that has gone through the canner, which is like a pink. Then we're going to add a drop of lemon juice. about 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. Turn it on medium-high and bring it up to a boil and start the boiling process. And we're going to make it into jelly. My jelly has been boiling nicely for 30 minutes. And we're just going to keep letting it boil because it's got a ways to go before it comes down to jelly. Now, the sides of it will have this big jellied coating on the edge. Make sure you get it all stirred up good every time you stir. And you want to stir at least every 30 seconds to a minute. For the most part, you don't want to walk away. Alright, I'm just going to keep letting this boil. And we'll be back. We are. This is apple jelly perfection. You see that foamy? It does that right when it's perfect. See how it liquid comes off quickly and still drips off quickly, but you see how that's the sheeting and the foaming. That's your biggest sign that you're at jelly stage, is the foaming. Now sometimes when you stir it'll foam up, but it's the foaming up without the stirring or without any intervention that lets you know. So then we're just going to turn it off, let it cool down, and put it in our jars. See that slow drip? That is sheeting. See how see how now it's actually becoming a big, you see that? That is perfect jelly. And we'll let it be for a couple of minutes and put it in our jars. We'll be back. Alright, here I have a pint jar, and here I have a 12-ounce jar. Probably won't need that, but I baked that just in case. I baked them in an oven on 250 degrees for 15 minutes. Now, this has cooled for about 5 minutes. I'm just going to pour it in our pint jar. Ooh, I do need the 12-ounce. Alright, I'm going to process these in a water bath canner for 25 minutes. Alright, I've cleaned and wiped my rims same way I did with the other jars. We get our lids on here, get it all ready and into our canner. Our 2 jars of apple jelly in our water bath canner. We turn it on, bring it up to a boil, and process it for 25 minutes. Alright, our apple jelly has been processing for 25 minutes, so we're going to turn it off and remove the lid and let it sit for 5 minutes to come down temperature a little bit, and then we'll take it out, set it aside, and let it cool. Alright, it's been 5 minutes, and we're going to move our apple jelly from our water bath canner. Look at that gorgeous golden color. And onto our counter to let it cool. Now, of course, it's going to be liquidy, but it'll set up nicely. Alright. Get near the end of our day and near the end of our 15 pounds of apple product. All we've got left to do is our apple pectin. Alright, it's been a half an hour. It's still rather warm, but you can still touch it. And as you can see, it has started, well, maybe you can't see. It has started to set. Can you see on this one? Yeah, you can see how it has started to set. It's going to be beautiful when it's done. We're going to keep letting this cool, and I'm going to finish getting this pectin together. Hello, everyone. Alright, it is the next day, and we have everything laid out here that we got from our 15 pounds of apples. Let me pull you back a little bit, so you can see a little bit more of what we got. Alright, out of our 15 pounds of apples, I got 7 quarts of apple juice. Now, I would have gotten 9, but I can only fit 7 in my canner at a time. So we churned 2 of the apple juices into apple jelly. Look how beautiful that is. Nice and set. Beautiful golden color. Oh, that's going to be wonderful on sandwiches. Then, I had ended up with 9 jars, but unfortunately one of my jars had a crack in it. And I didn't know it till after it went through the canner. That happens. So I would have had 9 jars, but I walked away with 8. 8 jars of pectin, 7 jars of apple juice, 2 jars of apple jelly, and then, of course, my family's favorite, all the applesauce. These little ones here make perfect little individual jars for your kids for snack time. And then my big tall ones here, I use for baking. So out of 15 pounds of apples, I got 20 some jars of product. You can do this with any of those 5-pound bags of apples that you buy in the store. But I can tell you, and I can guarantee you, that a lot of times those $4 bags of apples, those apples have been sitting in storage for upwards of a year or 2 before they even start putting them on the shelf to sell. So the apple pectin you're going to get is not going to be as well. It's not going to work as well. The apple juice will not be as thick. And the applesauce just won't taste quite as fresh. Because, like I said, a lot of the apples that you buy in those big 5-pound cheap bags are not fresh apples. These were apples that came from a local food co-op, from apple trees that grew right here in the area, and apples that were picked just this fall. So all the product I have here was made out of essentially fresh apples. Thanks for coming along with me on this adventure and learning all the fun different things you can make out of your apples. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and share. It really helps us out and helps spread the channel and helps me teach others how to do different things. Thanks for coming along, and remember, everyone, stay positive. Bye. See you next time.